All right, good afternoon. And it is later than usual. It is day 8 of the journey, and today marks a bit of a shift in how I'm approaching things. Now, up to this point, I've mostly been documenting the daily work as it happens. Today, I'm starting to connect that work to what's happening in the a cappella world around me, because a lot of what I'm studying is coming from those groups, and I'm hoping to contribute in that way as I move forward. So we'll go through the sessions first, then I'll share a couple of updates that tie into what I'm working on. Again, a little later this afternoon for this release, primarily because a lot went on this morning. See, today started earlier than usual and longer than usual. Before I even began singing today, I spent about half an hour doing some focused research. I was looking ahead at a section I haven't fully added yet, specifically a harmony line, and working out the notes by ear. This is from the Boulevard project. Again, Boulevard of Broken Dreams, the bass gang arrangement. At one point, all 4 of the members sing in harmony together, very tightly mixed with, if you've seen it, it's a very grainy film look. Now, because the harmonies are so tightly interweaved, it's very difficult to pick out those notes to figure out what you're going to sing. For me, I will be eventually getting to the point where I record all 4 parts in multi-track. So basically what all that research did, especially by working out notes by ear, was it reinforced very clearly the ear is going to be the ultimate tool. I used tools to confirm what I was hearing, but once a phrasing became short and staccato and articulated, and it's a very short piece, the other tools were really quite unreliable. It's a good reminder the tools are useful, but they're not always going to be the solving answer. So anyway, after about half an hour of that, I moved into the primary session, which today is Boulevard. This is where things got really interesting, because I would today add block 2, and we'll talk about that when I get there. So block 1 I did across 4 takes, and of course it continued to stabilize. Now block 1 is always broken into section 1 and section 2. The D-sharp 4, which used to feel like something I had to reach for, starting to show up more naturally. It's not fully settled yet, but it's not really being chased anymore. So section 1 improved in terms of entry and consistency. There's still some stability issues, especially tied to breath management, some sustained phrases, and the tempo still throws me a little bit. But section 2 is really beginning to lock in. The tone is becoming more consistent, the color of it. Support is there, and I'm not really over-enunciating as much. I was. If anything, when I started to get a uniform color across that section, it started to over-darken the tone. So I tried to, as always, try less. I always love the phrase, I tried to try less, which really, in an art form, you have to let go. Very Ben Kenobi. But anyway, the most important thing here wasn't just improvement. It was the interference, because I'd already looked ahead to block 2. I could feel block 2 sort of encroaching on block 1. And there was a sense of apprehension, almost like I was preparing for something that hadn't happened yet. And that started to influence the breath and the tone in the earlier sections. So let me talk a little bit about block 2. Block 2 is after the first verse, where the singer goes up an octave to sing the first chorus. That begins on a C4 and has a peak note on a D-sharp 4. So you basically know it's coming. The first note you hit in this area, C4, you're heading north. So I instituted block 2 on my 3rd take today, and Well, this is where everything broke. And after it broke, then it started to come together. I often say that you can't really head up until you hit bottom. And my first take with Block 2, I really hit bottom. So, tons of problems. I was over prepared. I had too much support. I had not enough support. I lost all tonal identity. And it was more about the execution than the singing, which always breaks things. I mean, it felt like I needed a completely different approach to get through it. But of course, the real issue really isn't the high notes. I mean, there is an F4 in there, which is even higher. It's that C4 leading into the phrase. I was really punching that note to climb into that section, which really compromises the phrase. And this is before I hit the harder stuff. So, take 35 was what I will define as a wreck. I didn't even want to log about it other than to say yuck. But take 36, I tried to simplify. I stopped thinking of Block 2 as another event. Just sort of pushing from where I was and saying we're still going and not thinking of it as different. And that really helped a lot. Obviously not perfectly. It's a road ahead. I've only done this section twice, but it was enough that I didn't fully collapse. Things held together a little bit. Actually, the fun part was there is a higher note in the first chorus in the middle of it, and while I blew the first note, the second one, which is a little higher, I hit fine and cleanly. So it's a little strange right now. So let me try to pare this down and talk about what I sort of take away from today in the primary session. The mentality is this is higher, this is different, I need to come up with an entirely new technique. And I think what I got out of 36 was that I don't need a new technique, I just need to understand and expand that technique in such a way that everything else just falls into line like the first stuff. So it's really that mindset of it's not different, it's just somewhere else. This is so it's high in my range, my upper range, and the instinct is this is harder. I need to work harder, but as I'm discovering in my journey of just learning to sing again, doing more is actually what breaks things. It's relaxing. It's just going with the flow and letting yourself feel free, which sounds very very flower child, but in some ways it's not wrong. All right, so primary, secondaries, be prepared. Oh. And this was intentionally a very short session. We just did one take. And it was after a longer primary session. The goal was just, it wasn't even improvement. It was just stay there. Is everything still going? And yeah, there were inconsistencies. It was a calibration take. My first take on a piece is usually calibrating my system. And with an hour and a half behind me, there was fatigue. So things held. They weren't perfect, but that was all I did for today in my secondary. And it's something I'm actively learning. Sometimes it's best to just fall back and not push further. So yesterday, it was sort of it works if I don't mess with it. If I try, it gets messed up, which rolled really nicely into today, which is if things get harder, don't change what is working. Don't don't interfere. It's trust what you're doing. And it's still, it's easy to say and think about, and it's harder to do. So that's where I'm currently at. So I'm not figuring out how to make it work, but I'm learning how to keep working as things expand. And that's pretty much what I have for the session today. As I said, I also want to start connecting what I'm working on to what's happening out there. Because a lot of what I'm studying and practicing is coming directly from these groups. So I figured I'd throw a couple of updates out today. And I have a nice way to transfer over to that section. So my acapella news is going to try to focus on what's going on currently in the acapella world. And honestly, there's not a lot that's going on, predominantly because this is a really great time for the groups that do tour to be out and touring. But I do have two little tidbits that are really great, and they're from the two groups that I'm really closest to at the moment. So first up is the Bass Gang. Now, they announced that a new album is coming. It's going to be the May the Bass Be With You, Volume 5. And they are going to be announcing the album and the release date and all the official information tomorrow. It's going to be a live stream on YouTube at 3 p.m. Eastern. Convert for yourself locally. They'll go more into detail about the album. They'll even release the track list. And they also mentioned a post-production funding push as well, which ties into how they're continuing to build and release these projects. Really quite incredible videos. Marwan is a true phenom with what he's done for 4 men who can't be in the same country at the same time. So really looking forward to that, the new videos that will fall with it. For me personally, since I'm working directly from one of their arrangements right now, this is great timing for me to continue to understand how they do arrangements. Secondly, if you've been catching on the news today, Voice Play has released a new album. Or they haven't released it yet. They've announced that the new album is coming, and the new album is Lore. It's on its way. The upcoming release date was announced, and the way they're describing it is it's a journey through their most epic, otherworldly songs of yore. Now, as a Patreon supporter, I did have early access to the album, and I'll just say up front, I absolutely love it. It's a great combination of Viking, of sea shanty, and other things like that, and the new album contains a new original track from Voice Play called Into the Deep, and it's going to feature, it does feature collaborations with Jay Nunn and Lauren Paley. Voice Play's arrangements are majorly an influence on what I work on right now, primarily because it's the way I'm hoping to learn arrangements work. So hearing more material from them while I'm actively studying is really incredibly valuable. So that's going to wrap things up for day 8, which means we have broken into week 2, and the work is really beginning to shift from figuring things out into beginning to develop them. As always, if you're following along, thank you. I cannot thank enough. And if you're new and interested in this process and what I'm doing, please subscribe. Your likes help me know that what I presented is interesting in any way at all. And the comments really are especially appreciated now, either through YouTube or any other platform you may see me on, because I'm still very new at this, and any general comments of we like this, we don't like this, is very helpful. So, day 8, done. I'll be back obviously tomorrow, day 9. Thanks again, and later.